And trusting, that's the other thing that's huge. Trust your partner in this stuff. If you communicate well, trust your damn partner. Because here's the thing. If your partner's wrong, there's no argument. But if you defy your partner and walk yourself off a plate and miss a shot, it's probably going to cause a little argument. I've seen it happen in PRS events.
Yeah.
Where guys like, oh, you get all the clock. Were you doing this? No, I wasn't. They sit there and argue about it. Like,
yeah, and they weren't even working. Like they weren't even competing.
Yeah. So that's the big takeaway for me with working with you is your communication on spotting was just
for me, the thing that stood out, and we're both ADD as shit and probably talk way too much. But the thing that stood out to me and that I thought helped so much is there was pretty much something being said after every shot or every movement. Hey everyone, welcome back to Red, White, and Moose. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can tell we're on a little bit different location. And I got a guy here with me, Dan Hereid.
What's up, everybody? What's up?
Yeah, Dan's been on the show before if you've been listening for a while, and before it was Red, White, and Moose, but we brought him back on. Dan owns Raven Rifles, and you can see some of the badass stuff that he's putting on back behind us. But we want to talk a little bit about shooting NRL as teams. And we went to the Sooner State Safari match in Oklahoma. We were lucky enough to bring home the win at that match.
Yeah.
Go over that a little bit. We got the finale coming up here in a little under a month, and kind of what we're doing to prep for that. And dude, thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So Dan's in the DFW area here in Texas, and we came down for the DSC Summer Show. And we've been doing that all weekend, hanging out with the Four Aces crew.
Yeah.
And man, this was the first summer DSC show, right?
I believe so. It's the first one I've been to.
Okay. So we didn't really quite know what to expect. I thought it was an interesting show. But
it was a good time. It was a good time. It wasn't, anything's got to be better than the Atlanta show experience. I know you weren't there, but it was, for me personally, it was pure health just getting there. Anything's got to be better than that. And we had a good time.
Tell everyone because you had to like fly into Florida or something and drive up or.
Yeah, man. So we started out the morning. Earlier in January, we got hit with the first ice storm here in DFW. And we were sitting on the runway, and I forget which airport because we had multiple flights going to multiple trade shows, but we were sitting on the runway, had to be de-iced, finally get in the air. And we get to the point of descending, landing gear pretty much coming out, and then all of a sudden it was landing gear up, plane's ass down, hard bank right, and everybody's just kind of like, well, what in the hell are we doing? And that's when they said, hey, we're diverting to Tallahassee. At this point, everybody's like, we've had enough of this. We get to Tallahassee. We're sitting on the plane for about 40 minutes. And it was me, a good friend of mine, Eric Sletton, who you know. Some of you listeners probably know who he is. And we happened to be sitting behind a former commercial pilot. We got to chatting, and they finally let us off the plane. And we said the hell with it. So Tallahassee to Atlanta, I think the normal drive time's like 3 hours. It took us like 4.5. And Atlanta was a straight up like what they call blizzard conditions down here. I mean, Atlanta doesn't get stuff like that. I mean, it sucked. The entire city was shut down. We drove into that. It was, I also was done with airplanes at that point, man. I don't mind flying. I just had enough.
Yeah.
The road trip was fun though. Good conversation. We stopped, found this random place to eat, and it was actually like this eclectic gift shop. It was a huge place. Killer burgers, grabbed a bite.
That's awesome.
Hauled a bunch of DSC, but we were exhausted. This show's no different though. We've been running pretty hard this weekend.
Yeah. I'm freaking exhausted. Me and Dan have both been having a long month, but good shit. So before we get into the NRL, you've been hunting with Four Aces a couple of times.
Yes.
Give us a quick rundown. Who is Four Aces? What can you do?
So I don't recall if Adam's a multi-generational or there's been several generations that have owned Four Aces. He's now taken it over. Done a whole lot of renovations to the lodge. It was 5-star before, and now it's like 5-star extra plus. Like it's posh, man. It's nice. It's not like most safaris. It's very quaint, very personal. You're not in camp with 35 people. Like it's, I mean, you know me.
Yeah.
I like bougie stuff, man. I'll say it. It's first class. It's nice.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's it's private chefs. It's they do your laundry every day. Accommodations are just out of this world. Other than the random cat that showed up in our room, which scared the piss out of us, that was pretty good. Because they don't have exhaust fans in the bathrooms, so you have to crack the window. And randomly in the middle of the night, cat just hops up in the window right next to the toilet. And you turn around, you're in Africa, right? So it's like, and I hadn't seen a house cat the entire time. I was like, I didn't know if it was
some eyes staring at
I didn't know if it was a serval sitting in the window, or what was going on. But yeah, anyways, really good stuff, man. He's got a new camp in Limpopo, which we got to go to in June with some friends of ours. We did Ashley, my wife and I, I don't forget, it was like a 15 or 17 day trip. And I had some rifle clients come down. We did, I don't recall, man, 7 days, 8 days.
Yeah.
In the original Kimberly camp. And then we went on a long drive. I don't recommend long road trips in Africa unless you really like seeing crazy traffic. It was fun, but I don't like sitting in traffic, but the tolls there are crazy. And then we drove all the way, picked up some folks in the Johannesburg airport, cruised north to Limpopo, and then got to see his new camp. His new camp's really, really nice too. Different kind of hunting though, like very, very thick bush.
Yeah.
So as a guy that likes to, stretch out the legs, yeah, you're not doing a lot of that there. It's bush hunting.
Yeah.
Man, awesome time. I'm addicted to Africa. I've had a infatuation with hunting Africa for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Four Aces is a shameless plug here, but I won't hunt with anybody else on that continent. They've got another operation in Spain too. We haven't been there yet. Plan to go. Just talking to the guy who runs the Spain part, and we've become close.
He was such a cool guy.
Oh, he's a rock star, man. He's awesome. Can't wait to get over there and do that hunt. The ibex, mouflon, red deer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just see a different part of the world.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of fun hanging out with them. Really appreciate them letting us be there. And just give them a shot. Check them out. It's Four Aces.
I believe it's just fouraces.com, but I'll
double check that for me while he's pulling that up. So getting into the NRL stuff. So we went to the Sooner State Safari match in Oklahoma, Grandfield, Oklahoma, just north of Tulsa back in March. And Jim C. and Bruce Lindsay were the match directors. And I will say, man, and we've had a lot of talks about this, that venue that match is on might be one of the coolest places I've shot.
It's pretty legit, man. It's fouracesoutfitters.com, by the way, guys. Go check them out.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're a solid Instagram page too. They got a lot of cool trophy pictures. But anyway, so Hawkins Precision provides precision hunting rifle components built to help you go further and shoot farther. From rock-solid optics mounting solutions born out of the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to their hunter bottom metal and flush magazine systems, Hawkins has a solution for your next hunting rifle build. When every shot counts, hunt with Hawkins. Guys, I've been running with Hawkins on all my rifles for a long time, from their one-piece mounts to their heavy tack rings to their ultralight rings, their bottom metals, their hunter bottom metals, and everything's been great. Next time you're getting a new rifle put together, go with Hawkins. Alpha Munitions delivers the brass that top shooters trust. Their proprietary OCD technology represents the first major advancement in brass manufacturing in decades. Engineered to provide unmatched consistency and strength, with OCD brass, shooters experience less plastic deformation under identical loads, resulting in extended brass life, superior pressure retention, and consistency across multiple firings. Alpha Munitions sets the gold standard for precision rifle brass, crafted for those who measure to the thousandth and weigh to the kernel. Guys, I use Alpha Munitions brass in damn near everything I do. I use it for competing, for hunting, in my business. I love it. From piece to piece, lot to lot, cartridge to cartridge. It's been fantastic. Guys, go use code MOOSE for 10% off at Phalanx-Arms on Alpha Munitions brass. Botnia Solutions makes unbelievably high-performing muzzle brakes. Their brakes use low ground blast angles for a reduced dust signature, controlled gas exit design for a smooth impulse and stable recoil, and upward-facing ports that apply downward force without introducing disruptive vibrations. I absolutely love my Botnia brakes. I've been running the Maxi and MIDI on my PRS and hunting rifles, and couldn't be happier. If you want the most out of recoil control, look no further than the Botnia brakes. Use code Botnia on phalanx-arms.com for 10% off. It's right. It's just north of Tulsa. I mean, it's like 20, 30 miles south of the Kansas border. And when I think Oklahoma, I think flat as shit. And you get out there and it's just rolling hills and creeks and streams and trees. And
yeah, it's, I've been through eastern Oklahoma a lot. Eastern Oklahoma gets real green and dense and wooded. But this place is like a little mixture of, some rock outcroppings and kind of like a little mini New Mexico. It's kind of the way I think of it. And it's just a really rock star place to put on an event, man. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah. So for those that haven't shot an NRL Hunter match, so bird's eye level view, it's a blind hunting long range rifle competition, and you have a allotted amount of time to find your targets, range them, and engage them. And so you'll get your dope, make a win call on the fly, and it's a great time. A lot of fun, and it will 1,000% make you a better hunter.
Oh yeah,
I mean, without
Absolutely.
a doubt. But
Absolutely.
and we've got some other episodes over, and I don't want to get into it too deep. But me and Dan were getting ready for this match, and we were both kind of talking, getting into it, and both of us were in the same mindset that if we're gonna go and we're gonna do this together, we're gonna go to win.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and there was really no other option. And thankfully, it came out that way. We got there, zeroed, got power factor, and we're both running 6.5 PRCs, running the 140 Burger hybrids.
Yep.
And I think we were 5 or 6 feet per second apart.
7, and you're in a 26-inch barrel. I'm running a 24.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were only like 7 feet apart from each other.
Yeah. So we spent about a month going back and forth on the phone. And his chambering slightly different than mine. And so, finding that sweet spot where, so we were both running pretty much 29.95, just under 3,000. And that was the speed we wanted to run, and just, playing around with charge weights to make sure we were both going to end up in the same spot. So got there, zeroed, everything was checking out good. And, we were talking, so first stage. So, 4 otters, this stage kicked our ass last year. The otters were next to impossible to find. This year, thankfully, we found them all. Dan,
yeah, we found them all. 2 was a little.
Yeah,
2 was actually. It's funny when we found the second target after a series, and that's the other thing. If you guys haven't shot one of these, you can ask the RO. You can't ask them just leading questions, but you can ask them very defined questions. And I'm pretty thorough on asking questions, so I start probing the RO on questions about what targets what and this and that. And finally, I just narrowed it down that we found 1, 3, and 4, and we knew it was a left to right. So, I mean, all you got to do is subtract the difference in where you're looking, and it's somewhere in the middle between the two. The funny thing is where it was put, I don't know how the hell we didn't see it.
Yeah, it was like 30 yards from the first target,
and it was right above it. Like I don't, and it wasn't hidden.
Right.
It makes no logical sense, but regardless.
So we finally find him. Dan goes through, cleans it, gets first round impacts on all 4. I get on the gun, lay down, first shot right over the top. And I was telling them, I had about 80,000 thoughts go through my head in the first half second. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Already messing up, letting Dan down. I held the bottom target, hit it, got the rest of them. Ended up just shaving a 10th out of my dope.
Yeah, that's what we decided on. Is like, look, on the next one, whoever calls out the number, whatever number we call out, that's my number. His number is a 10th left for the rest of the match.
10th low, yeah,
and take out a 10th for him. So, and then we were going to run that until it told us different. And that first stage wasn't a long stage either, so we weren't sure if it was a 0 issue or an oh shit moment of, okay, did something happen where his gun sped way up? Because goofy stuff happens all the time. But this is why it's important to have good fundamentals, so you can see when stuff like this happens. But yeah, that's what we decided on was he shaves a 10th, I run the number, and until it tells us different, that's what we're going to do. And it paid off.
Yeah,
it absolutely paid off.
Yeah, and yeah, so ran through the day. Man, we were day one. we were locked in. It was great. What did we drop? 4 shots combined at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the odd thing is I was playing that all back in my head, and I'm not sure if we ever talked about this, but that evening I'm laying in bed, and I'm one of those that I do my best thinking while I'm laying in bed. That's part of the reason why I don't sleep very much. And I'm sitting there thinking, even if we shaved a 10th on yours, that target was tall enough that a 10th, it would have clipped the top of it, but it wouldn't have centered it. It just wouldn't have centered that shot. And the whitetail stage, I forget what number it was, but it was 5 or 6, 7 stages later, something like that. We were pretty deep into the match at that point. I think you were down 1 or 2, and I was clean for the day. And then I had that one random shot that was like
on the deer stage,
3/10 above center, which was over the target, and like 4/10 right of the edge of the target, and I just froze. That's when I had my moment of, what in the hell is that? And that popped in my head, and I said, screw it, I'm sending it center again. And it hit center. Like, it wasn't center, but I broke the same shot again, bottom line. And then it just smoked the center of the target. And that was weird. That's the only weird thing that happened to me pretty much the whole match. But yeah, at the end of day 1, it was interesting because Alwine had walked out, and we were chatting, and he's like, yeah, man, I was good until that stage. And of course, we left on a high after day 1.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we were like, hell yeah. If anybody is beating us, I'm buying them dinner.
Yeah.
Because we shot our asses off. And then as soon as I started feeling that way, Matt pulls up. We're chatting with him for a second, and he's like, yeah, I was smoking it until that stage. And I'm like, is this Matt getting in our head? Or is he being serious? And it's funny because I'm not going to say our worst stage of the match, but that stage he was talking about, that sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't know that target exists, but anywho, so it was pretty fun. But bottom line, we shot our asses off day 1, and it was. I'm not going to say we couldn't shoot a better match, but it'd be hard to beat that.
Yeah. Well, and one of the big memories that stood out for me. So there was a mountain lion stage that it was a full size mountain lion with a vital plate, and it was at 450. And Dan went through, cleaned it. I went through, cleaned it, and when I was getting all my shit together, and I remember the RO was like, "Dude, did y'all see y'all's group?" And got back down on the gun and looked, and our combined 8-shot group, I mean, it was probably a minute just over, but 2 shooters stacked on. I mean, I was like, we are dialed in.
Yeah, I think like the black spot, how big do you think it was on the target?
I mean, it was probably a 4 or 5 inch group.
Yeah.
I mean,
between 8 rounds, which was pretty good. There was another stage like that too. Oh, I know. We'll get to it in a minute. I'll talk about that because there's a moment there that I made a comment on stage, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's pretty damn funny.
Yeah. So day 1, and the only thing that was like, we figured we were sitting pretty good, but the scores didn't come out that night, and so we went into day 2 like not knowing what the gap was, what we needed to maintain, or where any of the ROs were at, or anything, and
bottom line, guys, just so you know, that doesn't really matter. Just run your match.
Yeah, it doesn't, but
it does give you a little mental screwery.
Yeah,
right off the bat. Yeah.
But and I will say, I think we had probably the harder stages of the match day 2.
Yeah.
And drop some points here and there. Had I think we had 2 that we timed out on that and I think we dropped like a point or 2 on those.
Well, hang on. We had 2 stages. We had 2 stages that we lost to time. We lost points on time. No, 3. Those were on me. Were.
Okay, so I think this is a good topic because you say it, and I think this is more your personality that you want to take the blame, but I honestly don't know if we switched shooting orders if it would have been any different, because it was finding the targets and getting everything set up. So I really like you say that, but I don't know if it's really the case.
It's also in teams. The first shooter. So guys, if you run teams, pay attention to this. Put your best shooter, and I'm not saying in this case, but Mike and I are pretty damn equal. The thing is I typically shoot fast. That's why I was in front of him. But when you do run teams, put your best shooter first, because you get so much good data off the shooter that shoots better. Then if you're equal, like Mike and we're pretty neck and neck in how we shoot, right? I mean,
so to an extent. So for me, I would put you first because in my mind, you are a better shooter in this format. And I think it's a big part because you've been hunting for a while.
Yeah.
And you process information on the clock really well. Now, I'm pretty good at spotting, pretty good at shooting, and I can see things and adjust off of that. Yeah. But for me, it made a lot of sense to put you first.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that. But the biggest thing I wanted to make a point of is if you don't put your best shooter first, put the shooter that is faster first, because you can make up some time there. But your first 2 to 3 shots out of your gun need to be really, really good. Because if your partner's doing his job, and we'll get into some of the communication, how to rotate through a stage, he will see everything he needs to clean the stage off your first 2 to 3 shots out of your gun. And you should, as long as you're proficient, you should be good. Where I lost time at that match was I took it from every single shot I wanted to take. I was trying to be perfect. You and I can both agree there were a good number of targets that you could get pretty damn slap happy and sloppy with a gun.
Yeah, and still be fine.
A perfect example, and I'll talk about the stage I was telling you about. We shot a group that was no BS, a 10th wide and a 10th tall.
The West Texas Ordnance Switch Lug is a patented quick change barrel system that allows caliber and capability changes in minutes without the need of a barrel vise or an action wrench. It allows for precise, repeatable return to zero within plus or minus half MOA. It allows the use of one rifle platform with multiple barrels to perform a variety of tasks. And it can be used on short or long actions and standard or magnum cartridges. Guys, I've got switch lugs on most of my rifles, and it just makes switching barrels incredibly easy. One of my favorite things being able to do with it is being able to have a rifle and be able to switch from something, say like a 22 Creed to a 6.5 PRC in the field with just a barrel and bolt swap and no barrel vise needed. Guys, check out West Texas Ordnance and their switch lug system. Foundation Hunting Stocks has combined 3 unique materials, micarta, carbon fiber, and Kevlar, to create their new hybrid line of stocks. This combines the stiffness and lightness of carbon fiber with the impact resistance, toughness, and vibration dampening of the Kevlar. The micarta bedding block allows them to machine the precise inlets and seating surfaces that they're known for. Guys, I've been using Foundation stocks for years, and I love that dead recoil impulse that they have. And now being able to bring that same dead feeling into a hunting stock that's light enough to hunt the backcountry is pretty remarkable. Guys, go to Phalanx-Arms and use the code HYBRID for 10% off Foundation stocks.
8 shots. So it's Dorgan stage. And we just shot a 600-ish, 640-ish life-size mule deer.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a time eater. And if you didn't pay attention to what was going on this stage, you were going to lose your ass to time. And it was a tiny target. Not too tiny, but it was not a generous target.
It was probably a 4.5 10th wide target.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't tiny, but it wasn't big. Before you get into it, the thing that we were getting super nervous on that stage is it was a headwind, and it was super fishtail, and it wasn't high. It was maybe 6 or 7 miles an hour, but on that small of it, and it was at like 650, something like that. So I mean, I
think it was 640. 640. Hell, I don't know. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
that was
but
March.
Anyway, so walk through kind of how you set it up, and
so we get it up. It's a 1 target 4 position. Guys, don't burn a bunch of time. It's also a life size target. Like, shoot the center of the target. You're gonna get a good range. And they had a big pile of sticks, and it's all about how you process this stage. So it was, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was prone. And then the last stage is where you really had to
get up.
You had to get up because there's a big pile of brush. Well, running in teams, we actually had an advantage because if you're smart and communicate really well, you have 2 tripods. So tack table on 1 tripod with a bag, tripod rear in the back. So we get through that, and if you guys don't know, I'm a right-handed shooter. These are my rifles in the back. He's a lefty, which also adds a little complexity when you're trying to work together. But anywho, I get up there, center, and just shoot this plate really well, and they get the 4th position. And Mike had already abandoned watching me. He'd gotten his data. He's seen what he needed to see. He had pre-set up the tripod over there. As I'm moving, he's moving with the tripod. Boom, I get down, shoot it. At that point, I bail out, get my gun out of the way, get clear, get the mag out, all that fun stuff. He starts shooting. I'm not worried about spotting his shots because at that point, we're communicating. I'm telling him what I'm doing, where the bullets, and he's obviously watching where it's hitting the plate and it's working. So I'm going to let him do his deal. I had then to adjust my tripod over, and at this point, I got it kind of in position where he could maneuver around, and then I'm just offhanding my binos, watching him smack this target. He runs over, built a perfect position. Had we not worked together on manipulating tripods, both for right-handed then left-handed shooter, we were screwed because your last shot you broke on time. Like, and I'm talking half a second before that beep, your gun went off, and we were pretty amped.
We went nuts.
Yeah, we went nuts. And we went nuts just because we were also hearing, like, you can hear the gunshots, you can hear people timing out.
Yeah,
and these are individual shooters timing out, and we know it's a one target, we know it's a 4 position. We're sitting here going, we're also seeing or hearing how many gunshots are going off, and you can hear the target getting hit. We're like, not only is some people timing out, but they're not hitting this target a whole hell of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, from a distance, you can hear the difference between a big ass piece of steel that's the animal shape getting hit, and then the gong in the center. But yeah, we erupted, went nuts, and then the RO comes over and he's like, "Yeah, you're
first clean of the whole match."
Yeah, and we're like, "Damn!" So we get to this next stage, and of course, we're pretty amped up. I'm like, "All right, what do we got?" Oh, it's a 1 target 4 position. And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we start this stage, and we'll get into how I process things behind a gun. I'm kind of a mental case when it comes to that stuff. And I jump down, I mill all my targets before I take my first shot. And I get down, and this is Dorgan's stage. He's our own. And I'm gonna drop an F-bomb here. Sorry, guys, but I was like, out loud, I'm like, the fucking target's a mil wide. And Dorgan just starts laughing hysterically. So I shoot it, and I get to the third, I think it was the 3rd position. I send the next round, and Dorgan starts his commentary. And Dorgan talks a lot. Why? I don't know if he does it to everybody, but he jaw jacks with me when I'm on the clock, and it's fine. I don't care. It's all in good fun, and I enjoy it. And he's over there screaming at me, "You're a 10th left. I expect better out of you. You're a better shooter than this. What the hell are you doing?" And he's just jaw jacking. And that stage was pretty funny because it was like a full size elk vital at 400 yards, but it wasn't a full size. I mean, I guess that's vitals if you turn the lungs and everything else into one big ass circle. But it was a pretty big target.
Yeah. And then, okay. And honestly, I want to go through one last stage because I don't want to make this like a match overview, but the very, very last stage of the whole match, hands down, the hardest stage of the match. 2 target, 2 position. It was an antelope at like 400 yards, and then a ram.
Yeah, it was a big horn sheep.
Tucked up in a cliff. No, it was like 850.
Was it that far?
Yeah, it was far.
It was out there.
It was intended to be a prone position, but the grass was way too damn tall. And long story short, miss some shots. Not necessarily my favorite calling on shots either, but
shit happens.
It is what it is. But so we dropped 4 shots combined day 1, and we dropped our 9 shots on that stage.
Yeah, we dropped. So we dropped 4 together day 1. Day 2, I think we were only down 3 on the day. No,
it was more than that. I think it was like,
no, we were down 12 total for the day. On day 2. Day 2. So we were only down 3 on day 2 until that stage.
Oh,
yeah. And we dropped 9 on that stage.
Yeah, it was brutal. And I was because scores didn't come out, I didn't know where we were sitting. I was just like, damn it. And anyways, long story short, we won by 28 or 29 points.
Yeah,
and it was a good confidence builder for that was my first match win, which I was ecstatic getting to do it with one of my best friends and doing it well. I was very
we executed.
Yeah.
The other cool thing, and I had made Mike a promise. I was chasing this Mountain Forge thing. I almost was able to get a shot at it. I didn't have a factory gun here, though. I mean, even if I really wanted to, I would have had to go down to Shields and buy something and break it in one night and then drive first beg to get into the Alabama match. And all that. It was just too much shit.
Yeah.
But long story short, I told Mike that, hey, dude, let's go shoot this as teams. Let's do it the right way. Let's win the damn thing. And then you have my word, we'll do the finale as teams. So, haha, that's the announcement. We're shooting teams at the finale.
Yeah. So I wanna get into communication. Honestly, communication in life is huge. So it's just pro tip: learn how to talk to people.
Yeah,
it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah,
but so communication in teams is huge. I mean, so you can talk to your partner, you can ask questions to the RO, and so when I've shot one other team match before, and I had a great time, and I really like the guy I shot with. But so me and Dan are super close, and we talk on the phone 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Yeah,
and
just random crap, asking a question. We both have some downtime. Yeah, we BS all the time.
Yeah,
constantly.
so and we also we think very similarly on a lot of things, but we think very differently on a lot of things, and I think it balances pretty well. Kind of tell me what you thought kind of shined or stood out
over how we operated.
Yeah, just maybe questions that I asked or you asked, or things that we were calling out for each other, or
so I mean, the big thing is we were supporting one another, and it was weird because we're just learning on the fly of each other's deficiencies. It's like when we're both struggling to find targets, one of us better start asking questions to the RO. So I immediately started diving into questions to the RO. Walking each other into the target is also interesting, in understanding, each other, how we communicate. The other thing is how well you were calling things on target for me was a huge help, because I shoot a 6.5 PRC, and I see a lot with that gun, and I've had conversations with guys at matches. I don't know why you do that. You can see more with the Creed. Yeah, look, I get the argument. I've spent a ton of time balancing this rifle behind me. I drive that rifle really, really well. But there are some things that when I have to build, and I'll admit it, sometimes I build some shit positions and we'll take a shit shot. And there were a couple of those at that match, and you're going, hey, dude, you're 2/10 left of center. And I'm like, thank God, because I really didn't see it. The gun didn't settle fast enough. And I'm also, when you're shooting 3,000 feet a second, settling the gun on a 320-yard target is
it's
tough
fast
to do. It's fast for your brain to process. So that's what was super helpful to me, because there are a couple points when I broke a shot and I was just like, thank God it hit the plate. I didn't see where. And when you called, hey, you're getting close to the left edge. You're 2/10 left of center, which is close to the left edge or on the left edge in a lot of these cases. And trusting, that's the other thing that's huge. Trust your partner in this stuff. If you communicate well, trust your damn partner. Because here's the thing. If your partner's wrong, there's no argument. But if you defy your partner and walk yourself off a plate and miss a shot, it's probably going to cause a little argument. I've seen it happen in PRS events.
Yeah.
Where guys like, yo, you get all the clock. Were you doing this? No, I wasn't. They sit there and argue about it. Like,
yeah, and they weren't even working. They weren't even competing.
Yeah. So that's the big takeaway for me with working with you is your communication on spotting was just
for me, the thing that stood out, and we're both ADD as shit and probably talk way too much. But the thing that stood out to me and that I thought helped so much is there was pretty much something being said after every shot or every movement. And now, and whether it was me, or whether there was a spotter or the shooter, it was either, me calling, where you hit, you calling where I hit, or, when you're getting up out of that position, hey, when you're moving over here, get on this side of the log, or get your bipod up on this part of the rock, or hey, you need to get 2 notches out.
We had one on that one flat rock, because I would think I was running a double still at this point. I hadn't upgraded to the triple yet at this point, or pawned the double off to my wife, which, sorry, honey. But the rock, you had to pay it. A double was great because the rock came to a point, but the triple splayed out, which is how you normally run them so you can get lower in the gun, it wouldn't have fit.
Yeah.
So I was trying to tell you, hey. And then the other thing too that's cool about this is when your partner dumps their gun, after they've just done that, you can communicate to your partner as they're building those positions. Hey, bipod back. Yep, you're good. And they can stay behind their gun and adjust their stuff. They don't have to get out of their, halfway out of their position to monkey with their equipment.
Yeah.
The other thing too that I'm real big on, and you notice this at this match, and we've shot in other matches together, but the big thing for me, because I am so ADD, and I'll have a conversation with a rock, I'll admit it, I don't care. I have to stay dialed in, and I think that's part of the thing with me, and why I've excelled like I have in NRL comparatively to other shooting I've done. And I did well in PRS, but I took NRL; it just fit like a damn glove. And I think part of the reason is there's enough downtime where you can kind of release a little stress. You don't have to be on glass and you're just in it all the time. And you can cut up a little bit. But I also, like, when there's a couple shooters away from us going, I'm like, all right, mag's full, guns on 0, your shit's all good. And we went through that multiple times.
Yep.
Double, triple, quadruple checking our stuff before we start going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a big deal too, is having confidence in each other that we're not going to get up there and have a partner that's got half their rounds in their mag or something goofy. So it's just all around communication.
Raven Rifles produces artwork that shoots. Their custom lurk Cerakote pattern provides depth and color that most patterns just dream of. From Snow Wolf to Copperhead, you'll be able to blend in wherever you end up. And their limited release rifles truly are a functional work of art. They're available in limited numbers and guaranteed to catch your eyes. I absolutely love the lurk pattern. I've had it on my Really Right Stuff tripod for a while and getting most of my rifles redone in it right now. If you want to see more, go to ravenrifles.com. Lone Peak Arms provides precision rifle shooters with extreme accuracy through their actions. Whether you're building a hunting or competition rifle, their fusion or razor actions are the perfect foundation. Both actions are available in short or long, left or right configurations, and in stainless or titanium. Guys, I've beat the crap out of my Lone Peak actions in sandy, muddy, freezing conditions, and they're stainless and titanium, and they've just kept on ticking. Your next rifle you get going, use a Lone Peak, and they're available at westtexasordnance.com.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a blast. That match was fun. It was just fun.
It was a lot of time. So, or a lot of fun. So I want to go over like some of the differences in or how you process information on the clock versus how I do, whether that's stage prep, what you see, what you're thinking,
sure,
the few seconds before you pull the trigger. So kind of walk through your process on what that is.
I get ranges, and I'll start talking about range finding first, because I don't know if everybody does it this way, but I do it this way because I've got caught with my pants down a couple times just trying to range target. I purposefully, like, if you've got a target in your sight picture, and they obviously always normally have something behind them. Sometimes you get skyline, but let's just not very often. I'm going to range whatever's beyond the target first, immediately. That way I know, so let's say it's a 400-yard target and your rangefinder spits back 460. I know if I get something around 460, and you can tell with depth, especially with good binos, you can tell if something's behind a target. And I know that's not my number. I go over to that target, and I'm going to click the button 3 to 5 times. If it doesn't spit back a number that jives, I'm going to hit the bottom of the T-post, and I'm going to run that number. And here's the reason why. And that's not always the case, but it is the case a lot of the times. It also depends on, I'm processing mentally how much time it's going to take me to shoot. And I can shoot fast if I need to. But when there's a lot of movement, a lot of manipulating gear, that's going to slow you down. So I'll shoot the bottom of the T-post. And the theory behind that is, simply put, if you miss a target low, in most cases, you're going to see that miss easier than seeing something over the top. I mean, it's the same theory of sometimes you shoot, and if you hold too much wind and you don't see the miss, sometimes the bullet blows behind the target. You don't see it hit the ground. It's the same thing with shooting over a target. That shit can happen too. So I do that. Now, as far as processing on the wind side, I'm a hard dope guy. I run hard dope on my arm. And I do all that background stuff on the internet to get all, station pressures and DA, blah, 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 blah. So I do hard dope. And I said earlier that I mill targets. I mill targets because I'm trying to look at what is my min and max wind I can be within to stay on that plate.
And before, if you're new, listen, this thought process and setting up and playing the odds and playing probability and putting it in your favor is how you start getting extra points. And whenever you broke this down for me, like I had a couple of these points, but I didn't have the full system, and it really, really helped.
Yeah, it's and I train this a lot. I don't do a lot of training anymore, but I, now that we're doing rifles and all this stuff, but it's one of my big points when I'm talking about wind with peoples is understanding your first round hit probability percentage based on the variables that that you can that are known. So I do use a Kestrel. I will try to find a vantage point. Granted, I don't know what direction we're shooting, but as long as I can find a wind direction and I can find some sort of sight point out in the distance that I know that's roughly the direction of the wind, right? So when I find my target, I'll automatically correlate that. I'm not getting my Kestrel out during a stage.
Right.
I don't ever get it out during a stage unless it's just one of those, like it's a long range one target.
Right.
Screw it. I'll get it out because it's one target. So I will go through and I will measure my min and max on my Kestrel. And let's say we're just going to throw random numbers out there that make no damn sense, but just for examples, let's say it's a 3 to 8 mile an hour wind and it's coming in at like 130. So I'm then going to look at my hard dope. And this is where I'm locked in. I'm paying attention to whomever is shooting 1, 2, 3 groups ahead of me or shooters ahead of me. And I'm paying attention to that travel time. And where this gets interesting is it's actually an advantage that most people shoot 6.5 Creed because I've shot a lot of 6.5 Creed and I kind of have that time of flight down. So bang, ding, and I can go, that's 350 to 450 or longer. And I have those distances. So I'm looking at my arm card based on what I'm hearing to kind of look at, okay, wind direction's here. If the target's this wide, this is going to keep me in the plate. And I always use a mill, right? If I get down, it's a half mil. I always use a mill and then I try to figure out what will keep me on the plate. I get up, I range it and go, okay, I know my minimum is 2/10. I know my maximum is 4/10. If it's a mil wide, I can go to the edge of plate and cover everything.
Yep.
Right. Within reason. But I'm calculating off of the width of the target always. The only time I don't get into that and I go to my hard dope and I'm actually going through my hard dope on my arm is when it gets above really 12, 15 miles an hour.
Right.
And that's really where I'm paying a lot more attention to what the wind's doing because you're going to have a lot more bullet movement based on those wind speeds. But it works. I mean,
yeah.
Your match I shot kicked my butt and we had 30 mile an hour winds and there was, I think on day 2, I cleaned everything but 2 stages.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dust Devil Duel in Amarillo, Texas, 2026. Put it on your calendars.
Dude, by the way, publicly, awesome job running that match.
Thank you.
I mean, you guys as a team did a phenomenal job. Probably, and I put this in a post online, the people who came to that match had a finale level experience and didn't even know it. And I mean in everything. I'm not just talking Course of Fire. I'm talking food, awards, everything. I mean, kudos, hats off.
Thank you.
Badass job.
Thank you.
Badass job.
I couldn't have done it without the Bivens. I mean, those guys were
absolutely
so awesome. But thank you.
Yeah.
But I want to. So there's a stage that stands out in my mind that we didn't really get a chance to because we didn't. It was a one target position. We just knew it was far. Just based on the sounds. But we couldn't figure out. We didn't know what it was, and so we run up there, and it was a 4 position stage, and I think the first and fourth were prone, and then like you had to get up on a tripod on some others.
Oh, hog over the water.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So it was a hog. It was like 8 or 9 tenths wide, and it was at like
890.
Yes, it was a poke, and we get up, find it, range it. Dan's getting on the gun. I'm looking at my dope card, pulling win numbers for you. And I can't make insert number, whatever number I tell you, and call it you were going to hold a mill.
Yeah.
You got down on the gun, milled it, called it out to me, and I said, hold a mill, thinking that would put it somewhere within 2 or 3 tenths of of center, and you hollered back, and I'm making up some numbers, but this is the general gist. You hollered back, I'm putting 6/10 on the left edge and sending it.
Yeah.
And before I wasn't thinking that way.
Mhm.
And when you said it, it threw me off, and I was about to yell, no, 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 no. And you pulled the trigger. And center punched it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I took a step back and thought about it, and I was like, oh, okay, I caught what you did. And so you put 6/10 on the left edge, and we'll call it 9/10 wide. That covered you from 6/10 to 1/4.
Yeah, roughly. I forget how wide the plate is, but
Yeah, I mean, in this
you're normally
example,
right,
and
yeah.
so backing that math up, it essentially put a mil back into the center of the target.
Yeah.
But I did it just based on numbers, looking at it, and that's where I gave you that win call. But when you looked at it and put it into perspective of, I know how wide that target is, I have a pretty rough idea of what the win variable is. I'm going to use that probability to my advantage and see what happens. And that's where it really got my mind
So,
running on this.
The
thing.
other thing too, and that being said, is okay, when you're calling out center of a target, guys, this is odd shaped shit you're shooting sometimes. I operate on edges a lot because normally, and I'm saying that kind of funny because normally edges of these targets are pretty defined. I did shoot a match this year that, and I won't get into that, but let's just say even seeing what the target was hard. But I operate on edges because his definition of center and my definition of center could be different things depending on some guys. Let's say it's a fox target, they'll chop the tail off because the tail's, you really shouldn't be hitting it in the damn tail. The tail doesn't really count because the target gets really small. There's several targets that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I operate on maximum hittable space of the target, and I'm going to lop the tail off like on that example.
Right.
And I'm going to use that as my width of target because that's
Mhm.
where I'm trying to keep the bullet. Edges are a lot easier most of the time to find your hold point to, not the center of the target. Also, when targets get shot to shit and sun comes in, eyeballs, your neurological system, your brain, it sees a silver dot. And if you sit there and study that silver dot might be actually 2/10 left of center, but for some reason your brain tells you that's center.
Right.
And that happens in microseconds as you're shooting.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. So that's why I operate on edges. That's the only reason. But it was interesting. I do remember this conversation now when I explained it to you on what I was doing. Yes, it was nearly the exact same thing. It's just the way I processed it.
Yeah,
was different.
and I think that's why it stood out to me so much is that we took two very different routes to come to the same answer.
Yeah.
But it worked, and it made me stop and look at things a different way.
Yeah.
And so it was just fun. So getting ready for the finale.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to shoot tomorrow morning, mainly just validating dope. So thankfully for us, we knew the load was good going into the match.
Yeah.
Proved it was good at the match. And so really just making sure, barrel conditions haven't changed too much, making sure the speeds are lined up, still shooting good and all that fun stuff. So we're taking 10 or 15 rounds a piece. We're going to go get a good zero, go out, get some speeds, make sure it's still shooting good.
I've got steel right down the road out to 1275. So go from 3 something, it's like 360 all the way out to 1275 and just make sure our stuff is running the same.
Yeah.
It's just, that's super important in teams too, guys. If you can do it, I get it. If you can't, just run what you got and come have a blast. That's really what this is about.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to really try to be competitive, it does help when you run the same thing.
Yeah.
It just does.
So that's a good point. And I will say, so me and Dan are both, if you haven't figured out, we're both super competitive people.
Yeah.
And when we go to matches, we're trying to get the most out of it. But to take this from a different perspective, if you're not uber competitive or you're not trying to come out and win the match, I look at it as two ways, two things. Either you're coming out to learn or you're coming out to have a good time.
Yeah.
And if we're talking teams, bring out your hunting buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, even if you give two shits about doing good at the match, it will force you to be able to talk better to each other.
Yeah.
If you, and honestly, because so like looking at the example of taking two different ways to come to the same answer, when when you're both looking out into a valley or on a mountainside or something, my eyes are going to pick up something the first thing my eyes see are going to be different than what you see.
Absolutely.
And so when you start trying to walk someone into a target or an animal or something like that, and you don't know how to talk, talk to your hunt buddy. Anyways, figuring out just the way your hunting partner thinks and
Understands.
processes
Yeah.
and comprehends things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we've been talking a lot, just trying to make sure we're not leaving any gaps, any holes in our game leading up to the.
Yeah. It's really, guys, I mean, rule number one when you're a competitor doing these things, even if you're going out to have fun, if you don't bring a gun that is dialed in, like rule number one is make sure your shit works and make sure it's right.
Yeah.
Because even if you're coming to have fun, even if you're new, it's frustrating to be fighting gun issues.
Yes.
It just it like fighting zero issues, fighting ammo issues, fighting just stuff that, now look, there's shit that pops up all the time, but control the things you can control and make sure your stuff is tuned up and running spot on. You will have a better experience. You will hit more targets. And nothing's more frustrating than having something go south that you honestly could have controlled. But yeah, man, I'm jazzed. So jazzed that the rifle behind me, no, it's not a new gun. I don't need any more of those right now. It used to be done in kind of a tan scale, and yeah, it was similar to that.
It was close.
It was very similar to that. Kind of a scale of FDEs, had some black in it and stuff. I decided to try something different, and I'm again bougie. I'm a look good, feel good, shoot good type guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave it a full facelift, and I've never been a guy to chase the weight thing, and I've got an action off right now that I'm doing some other stuff with it, and it's my main action that I've always run for that gun, and we're playing with it, and I had an extra full rail impact. Yeah, and it's like 2 ounces underweight. It's heavier than I'd like it to be, but
it's playing the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it wasn't purposeful. It's just like, crap, I need to get this gun back together. I want to refinish it, and it's the action that I have sitting here, and I'm not going to pull a new action out of a box off the shelf or something.
Right. No, and so for those of you that don't know, so Dan and Raven has a Cerakote pattern called Lark, and has 7 or 8 different colorways for it. This is dark matter, right? Yeah. So it changed to dark matter, which is, for those of you not on YouTube, it's a very dark, but mostly black, gray, some greens.
It's kind of a play on black multicam, very similar colors to black multicam. Is
but not gay. Nice. But anyway, so the front of the gun's the dark matter, and it fades to raw carbon fiber at the back, and it's pretty freaking sick.
So we'll probably do this on another episode, but I've got a limited series of rifles that are well, now as of this episode they've dropped, but I've been taking these patterns, and it took me years to figure out a camouflage pattern that in a lot of the colors I create a lot of contrast and depth, and that's important to breaking up silhouette. And how I started this pattern is it always starts out with a solid base. Well, I have these fancy exposed carbon fiber, and they've got a lot of these manners. They have that chop in them. They're sexy.
Oh yeah, they look great.
I've been playing with all the patterns or all the colorways, because how you stack the colors creates depth. You can't just pile colors on top and it works. And I've been playing with Lurk Exposed, which plays into that exposed carbon fiber as an underlayer. Well, the one behind me, I was like, man, I ought to see if I can just fade this and have it feather into just carbon fiber. And that was me goofing off. And
yeah, it turned out sick.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy with it. Feel free in the comments if you want to say it sucks. I'm cool with that too. So
yeah, and if you say it sucks, your mom sucks. No, but so just okay. While we're on the guns, so one thing that popped in my head. So like I said, we're both running 6.5 PRCs, same speed, same bullet, everything. But the one thing I do think is kind of unique is our guns are very, very different, at least in these setups.
Very, very different.
So run through your gun real quick, just overview, just a quick overview of what it is.
Yeah, it's a Manners LRH that's bedded. OTM bottom metal. It's got Arca rails that are built by Dependent Built And this now is a full 737 impact. It's normally an NBK. And then it's got an M24 spiral fluted barrel. And Collis 540, Hawkins heavy, 115 rings, the heavy tacks. And triple pull with a bunch of hodgepodge of stuff. It's got LRT fat trimmer head, really right stuff, Arca clamp. And then it's got Axis Precision or Axis Works.
I gotta get one of those
layer.
brakes.
Yeah.
They look pretty slick.
Yeah, and I could actually drop some weight out of it. They make them in titanium. Yeah, that's not a titanium one. I have some titanium ones, and I love those brakes. But yeah, that's kind of the rundown of the system. Yeah, man. Oh, it's got a that's got a Bix in it. I run 2 stages. I'm a goofball. I run 2 stages in all my hunting and NRO guns.
Yeah, and topped with the new Collis K540i.
Yeah.
So then my gun, mine's in an MDT Hunt 26 folder. With I'm also running a Bix trigger. That one has a Lone Peak titanium action and a Bartland steel barrel, and then I'm running a Botnia MIDI on that one with Hawkins heavy rings, and then that one has a
Zico
420 on it.
Yeah.
So just very, very different setups.
Yeah.
But unique. But what's funny is our guns are very different, but everything else is identical.
Yeah.
We both run really right stuff, 2-piece inverted tripods, both run Swaro 10 power EL ranges. Yep. Well, you run Armageddon gear bags. I run Weebad bags.
Yeah. I ran Weebads for a while, and the thing that I like a bigger bag that's going to take up more, and I just like the shape of the Schmedium bag. I'm not going to bring the new bag out for this match, but I have a new bigger bag now, and I can get into that later. But it's not broken in yet. I don't kind of mess with it, but yeah, I like the Schmedium bags. The other thing I like is how I glass is I'll take the Schmedium, turn it up on end, and slap the binos on top of it, and my nose isn't buried into the bag. And that's the only thing with the way that I manipulated the bag. My nose is buried into the Weebad bag, which is fine. But after 2 days of getting bag wax slobbered all over your nose, it's smelling bag wax for a week.
So I want to while we're on that topic, this conversation got brought up a few times by me, but it's maybe because it's very heavy on my mind. But for those of you that like to hunt, a shooting bag is a absolute must, in my
100%.
opinion. And there's so few people that I see outside of the competition realm using shooting bags. And so for those of you that don't know, so like if you go to Weebad's website, and they've got a bunch of different size bags. They're called fortune cookies or tater tots or whatever, but they're essentially just bigger and smaller versions of the same thing. The mini tater tot with their lightweight fill, it's a little bag. It weighs like 8 ounces, takes up 0 space. You can clip it on your backpack, throw a carabiner on it, clip it on your belt loop, whatever. If you're hunting out of a blind, throw it in the windowsill. You don't have to put your gun on the sill. You can glass off of it. If you're out in the field, you can throw it on a fence post, a tree. You have to have it, in my opinion. And they're like $90, $80, whatever it is. That's a little more for the lightweight.
That's a real good point. I mean, they make I've got a couple of their lightweight bags, and they work really good. I haven't my local buddies know this, and I've sold a couple of them. In fact, I've got one more in there, and it's promised to a local friend of mine. But I also have a lightweight fill that I put in bags. That I've put together that works really, really good.
I do like that one.
Yeah, it works really, and I like bigger bags too. So that's what's interesting is when it comes to hunting an NRO hunter, I like a bigger shooting bag. When it comes to PRS, I like I've always called it the puppy from Weebag.
Oh yeah.
That's my go-to, and it's really interesting that for like hunting stuff, I like a bigger style bag, but for PRS, I like a smaller bag.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's probably because when I was shooting a lot of PRS, my damn gun weighed 30 pounds.
Right. And then you didn't want to carry a 12-pound bag on top of says you get an 8-pound bag.
Yeah. So I've got a smaller bag, and it's just with a gun that big, you don't need a bag that big. You just don't. The gun settles a bag instantly.
Yeah.
I just didn't need it. But I've broken that gun apart. I'm not doing any
Yeah.
more 30-pound guns. That's not happening anymore.
No, but I'm super excited. So the NRL finale or Grand Slam, it's at Gun Sight in Arizona.
Yep.
I've never been to Gun Sight. I've heard it's a badass facility. Pretty cool. You haven't been, right? I was talking to Clayton and Sloan from WTO, and they went and shot it. I think it was early. I think they did the Pro-Am, or maybe they,
Yeah, it was a Pro-Am there. Yeah.
um,
No, the furthest west I've shot, man, is Raton in 2021 PRS finale. I've never shot further west than that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I haven't gone too far.
Yeah. I'm a driver when it comes to matches, man, and
Right.
I'm not driving that. Oh, I'm just that drive's rough, man. You go west and it's just rough. I mean, the drive east is, I've driven all the way down through Florida and shot down at Altus and all that stuff, and Can-Am multiple times.
Yeah.
That's one of my
this is the first. I'm going coast to coast this year for matches. I'm going to California in October and freaking Pennsylvania in November.
Yeah.
But
it'll be fun.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I didn't know you were going all the way out to Cali.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. We talked about that.
Doing the Sack Sizzler. So for those that don't know, I switched to TAC in PRS, trying to make the world's team for IPRF for 2026. Coming to take that title away from you, Chad Heckler. You hear me? I'm coming. Anyways,
I'll be on the sidelines with my pom-poms.
But no, I'm excited. But no, that was kind of a breakdown. I had so much fun shooting teams. Had a blast shooting with you. Had a blast winning. Looking forward to going to the finale. Is there anything else you can think of, teams related or just off that topic? That
no, other than I saw a post the other day, and it was like more than 50% of the matches were won by a different team. So it's going to be a pretty interesting field for the finale.
Yeah, which I'm excited. You told me that, I think it was last night, and I want to go through the site and kind of see. But that's interesting because is there going to be just a ton of stacked teams? I mean, this year, or I'm curious to see, because there was, and I hate that I'm blanking on his name, but there's a guy that's been shooting teams all year. I think he did it last year too. That I think this year, last year, he won like 4 or 5 team matches, but every single one of them was with a different teammate. And I'm blanking on his name.
Hang on, I'll look.
But anyway, while he's pulling up, so check out the these NRL type matches. They're a lot of fun. Check out shooting teams. It is a blast. And Dan, dude, thank you. I mean, Dan is one of my best friends, but check him out on Instagram. It's Raven Rifles.
Yep.
The new Gungnir just dropped. And
are you talking about Ryan?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. What's his last name?
Steinforth.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check out Raven Rifles on Instagram, and is it ravenrifles.com?
Yeah, ravenrifles.com.
Website.
Yeah.
So the
website's up for a very limited time. It's man, we've done a lot to the web. We had a trade show this weekend, obviously, so I wanted to get something up there. But we're putting a lot into the website. I completely tore it down to nothing and going back up and doing it with a real professional theme.
We're gonna do another episode going over Raven Rifles and some of the stuff that they've got going. But for those listening, because I'm too excited about it, Dan has a very unique look and perspective when he sees a gun, and the artistry that goes into some of these systems, I think, is really, really unique. And I want to congratulate you for putting together something so unique. It's a little piece of you, and it shows. So I'm not gonna get super into the details on this one, but it's a limited edition.
You know too much.
It's a limited edition 7 PRC 22-inch decked out in lurk on a medium action, medium Hawkins.
That's the new Hawkins 3.5 inch.
Yeah, it's sick. Cool. Go check it. And we'll do a full episode going over Raven Rifles and these limited edition drop rifles that he's doing. But go check them out. So, dude, thank you.
Oh, thank you
so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait for the finale. So I'm not exactly sure. So we're recording a few episodes this weekend. I'm not
Yeah.
exactly sure which order this one's going to come out in, but it'll come out before the finale. So I can't wait, and we may have to do another one after the finale, kind of recapping, taking a look at
Well,
it.
if we're not too whipped, we ought to do one after day one and after day
We
two.
talked about that. Yeah, so me and Dan are going down. Peyton Grimes,
Peyton's rolling with us.
she's competing in ladies, and I may grab another mic and mic stand and just shit. We're flying. Getting that shit there would be so hard. I don't know.
UPS to the rescue, baby.
Oh yeah, we could do that. It wouldn't cost that much to ship it. So we might do that if I can get everything put together on time. I may send all the
or
the
we could just slum it with a webcam on a computer and both scream into the computer.
I don't know, but it would be fun. So, anyways, if we can put that together, we'll do that. But stay tuned for after the finale, and we'll do a recap with the 2025 season champs.
Yeah, damn right. Damn right.
So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's to Red White Moose. It's been a lot of fun. I put a lot of work into getting this new revamp together with the new equipment, the show sponsors. I hope y'all are loving it. It's been a passion project that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm super excited of what all's coming together with it. So stay tuned, check it out. Check us out on Instagram, Red, White, and Moose. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
See ya.